Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I'm your teacher Simi Namir and today I'm here again with a new lecture. I hope everything is going well with you and your family. Let's start today's lecture. This is my lecture number 13 for grade 7 and today we have a geography class. We're going to start the new chapter which is chapter number 4 and this is land supply. Land supply, this is page number 44 and the topic is land supply. About 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water. We all know that the Earth's surface is divided into land and water. 70% of the area is blue, like we can say it's a blue planet, so the blue area is water. And only 30% of Earth's surface is land. This appears to be a lot of land, but only 10% of this land is arable and habitable. Sorry. Arable means area that is suitable for farming, that is suitable for cultivation, suitable for agriculture. And habitable means like area that is livable, that human and animals can live on this area. So in the total 30% of land, only 10% of land is arable and habitable. Arable land is a land that is suitable for farming, and of the 30% of land surface, 20% of land is in regions that are too cold, too dry, or too steep to be livable or arable. That leaves only 10% of the Earth's land that is habitable, so land is hence a scarce resource. It means land is limited for us. As I said, 30% of the Earth's area is covered with water. So only 30% is land. But out of this 30%, 20% of land is like in region which is either too cold, like Arctic regions, Antarctic regions, the glaciers, the ice caves, um, or the area is too dry, like the deserts, like the extreme dry deserts, or too steep, like mountains. There are lots and lots of mountains in different areas of the earth. So these areas are not habitable or not livable. That's why only 10% of the Earth's land is habitable. So that's why we can say that the land is hence a scarce resource, or land is very, very limited. Now the second topic is like the types of land use. This was on page number 44. So here you have a figure 4.2 which shows the percentage of the land use. This is like cropland. Cropland is the land that is used for cultivation of crops. Then is purple color which shows the pasture. Pasture is the land uh, that is reserved for grazing of animals. Then is the forest land in yellow color. Then is urban area. Urban area is all the city area with all the public amenities and the facilities. And others shows in the dark blue color, which is 21%. Now let's start with cropland. Food is of primary importance and the large proportion of land is used for agriculture. You know, agriculture means farming, and farming include both mm, cultivation of crops and rearing of animals. So you have this graph which shows what land is used for. With about 6 billion people to feed, it is not surprising that more land is continuously being cleared for farming. The next most important use that land has been put to use is for pasture. Pasture is, I have told you that grazing of animals is known as pasture. The land is known as pasture. This means that land is used to grow grasses or crops to feed animals such as cattle and sheep. Corn, for example, is grown to feed cattle. The animals are another source of food for the people. Land that is used to build cities and towns is classified as urban area. This includes land that is used to build houses, factories, roads, and railways. So all the facilities are provided in this area. And you know that the whole world is moving towards urbanization. More and more land is being cleared uh, to make them urbanized, to provide them main facilities, to construct roads, to build buildings, factories, industries, schools, hospitals, and some recreational areas. People need facilities such as parks, football fields, golf courses, and swimming pools for recreation. And land has to be set aside for schools, universities, and other educational institutions. There's a great competition for land, more so with a larger population now than before. So there's another figure, figure 4.3, that sums up the competition for land on page number 45. Land is limited in few countries, like the land area available for use in country or city is limited, just like Singapore. That is a land scarce country. So when demand increase, available land area cannot meet with increase in the demand. So the prices of land may also increase. There are different reasons for the rising demand for land. The first reason is the increase in population. The world's population has grown from just 3 billion in 1960s to 6.6 billion in 2008. Although the growth in population has slowed down since the 1980s, the increase in actual number is still large. And with this increase in population, we need more food, we need more housing, we need more facilities, more health facilities, more education facilities, more roads, more industries. To meet the demand, we need more land for all these amenities. So that's why we need more and more land. With a larger population, more food is needed. This means that more land has to be used for agriculture. In the last 40 years, more forests have been cleared to grow crops and to rear animals. The Amazon basin is a good example of forests being cleared for agriculture. A larger population also means more housing, roads, and railways have to be built. People need jobs and factories have to be built. Beside all these, people need recreational facilities too. In some cities, the population has grown so fast that the city has expanded into the agricultural land just outside the cities. Land is becoming more and more scarce as a resource. So land is just too hard to find. And this is particularly true of land available for primary production of biomass or for conservation related purposes. Such situations frequently lead to rapid increases in the economic value of land, and land tenure becomes an important political issue. Some cities have become so crowded that the governments have to move the people out of the cities. They have opened up land by clearing forests to resettle these people from the crowded cities. Now the government is setting up new towns and new housing schemes. The second reason is the loss of arable land. I have told you that arable land is the land that is suitable for farming. So, like the suitable, a good land or fertile land becomes barren or unproductive, it means that we are losing the arable land. With the growing population, much pressure is put on the land to produce more food. When previously only one crop was grown a year, now two crops are grown to meet the increased demand for more food and the cash that can be earned with an extra harvest. The land is used intensively and over a long period. The land is allowed little or no rest. The soil structure is destroyed and soil fertility is lost. This is called overcultivation of land. Farmers have been concerned with higher crop yields and getting the most out of the farmlands that they have overlooked the damage that is done to the land. Over the past 40 years, about 30% of the world's cropland has become unproductive. This is the result of soil erosion, loss of fertility, and increased salt content of the soil due to irrigation. I've told you that irrigation is like to artificially supplying water to the crops by making canals in the rivers or by diverting the river channels or tapping out the groundwater. River canal or canal water supply is the main reason of the salinity in the water, which leads to loss of the fertility of the land. The loss of agricultural land is due largely to land degradation, such as erosion, which is when soil components move from one location to another by wind or water. Agricultural land is also being lost because it is being converted for other purposes, such as like highways, housing, and factories. Land that has been damaged is abandoned and new land is needed for agriculture. The new farmlands, if not carefully managed, will eventually go through the cycle of overcultivation and loss of fertility and then abandoned, which is unproductive land. Arable land is also lost when overgrazing occurs. Overgrazing is a situation when the pasture is grazed without rest. The acts of compaction and erosion as a result of overgrazing can cause tremendous land degradation. In drier areas, the experience is even worse as a large percentage of pasture and land cover is destroyed, contributing to the relentless progression of desertification. The land becomes dry as it loses its vegetative cover and hence moisture. The soil becomes too dry for growing of pasture and is often subjected to soil erosion. The third reason is that competition for land from biofuel. Biofuel means when we derive fuel from living matter. As the world becomes more concerned with pollution from fossil fuels, biofuel is held to be the best alternative. Land is needed to grow the plants that provide the biofuel. This means that land is now not only used for crops and animals to feed the people, for housing the population, it is also used to grow biofuel plants such as oil palm and the Jatropha curcas plant. Jatropha is a plant which can be converted into a biodiesel. Biofuels are a renewable energy source made from organic matter or waste that can play a valuable role in reducing carbon dioxide emissions. Biofuels are one of the largest source of renewable energy in use today, and in the transport sector they are blended with existing fuels such as gasoline and diesels. Unlike other renewable energy resources, biomass can be converted directly into liquid fuel, which is called as biofuel, and to help meet the transportation fuel needs. The two most common types of biofuels in use today are the ethanol and the biodiesel, both of which represent the first generation of biofuel technology. We are done with the reasons for the rising demand of land. Now there is another topic on page number 48, which is ways to increase the supply of land. Now, what are the ways that we can use to increase the land supply? The first one is the land clearance, which is almost the fastest, cheapest, easiest, and simplest way to have a land area, which is deforestation. The fastest and cheapest method of increasing the supply of land is to clear forests. The speed at which forests have been cleared has been fast following the rapid rate at which the world's population grows since 1960. Although land is cleared for other uses, clearing of farming and pasture is still the most important reasons for loss of forests. So this is a way to increase the supply of land, but this is not a good way to increase the supply of land. In tropical countries, previously the land cleared for agriculture is mainly for subsistence farming. Today, land is increasingly used for commercial farming. In the Amazon basin in Brazil, land is cleared for large scale cattle farming and soybean growing. The products are mainly exported to the developed countries. Subsistence farming means like when the farmers uh, cultivate the land for his own use or for his family's use. But commercial farming means when the farmers cultivating land for the selling purpose, for the purpose of selling or for the purpose of earning. That is commercial farming, or commercial farming is the large scale farming. As a result of a rapidly growing population, there are more people who are poor and landless. The government of some countries have hence tried to help these people by giving them land in the forests. New land has to be opened up as the cities are already overcrowded. Another way to increase the supply of land is land reclamation. Land reclamation is the creation of new land that was once the ocean or any of the water body. For more than 300 years, the Dutch have been reclaiming land from marshlands, lakes, and the sea in the Netherlands. The land is used for agriculture and other purposes. The method uses dikes, which is raised embankments, like we are making embankments or the small walls or the boundaries to keep the water out during and after the land has been reclaimed. Land reclamation is the gain of land from the sea or wetlands or other water bodies and restoration of productivity or use of lands that have been degraded by human activities or impaired by natural phenomena. So, the land reclamation is the process of creating new land by raising the elevation of a waterbed or low lying land or by pumping water out of muddy morass areas. Land reclamation can be achieved by poldering or by raising the elevation of a seabed or riverbed or low-lying land. The land reclaimed is called a polder. A polder is a piece of low-lying land that is reclaimed from the sea. We have figure 4.14 on page number 49, which shows the Zuider Sea, a reclaimed area, or we can say a polder. Mining land can also be reclaimed and reused. During mining, the land that has been dug left behind pools and crater-like holes. These large cavities or holes in the ground can be filled in or made into lake, and the area can be used for recreational purposes. With modern building technology, land can be created. This is very much like reclamation. You can see the figure in your book also. This is 4.16 on page number 50, which shows that a palm island in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates of Arabia, they are artificial islands created out of material dug out from the sea. Major office buildings, hotels, and housings are being built there. The Kansai International Airport in Osaka, Japan, is another example of creating land to increase the land supply in Japan. In Hong Kong, where land is scarce, about 10% of the total land is reclaimed, and more reclamation projects are planned to increase the land supply to meet the increasing demands. Land reclamation or land rehabilitation is also the process of cleaning up a site that has sustained environmental degradation, such as stripe mining. This can be done to allow for some form of human use, such as housing development, or to restore that area back to its natural state as a wildlife habitat home. Third way to increase the supply of land is restoring derelict land. Derelict land means damaged or destroyed land. Land can be damaged by farming activities. The fertility of soil is lost through continuous farming and poor farming techniques. Erosion, which is soil erosion, also affects the fertility as the topsoil, the richest layer, is washed away. Erosion can be a result of too much tilling and the removal of cover vegetation or when the land is too dry. Tilling is the preparing land for cultivation. When we are preparing land for cultivation, it can damage the land. Irrigation increases the salt content of the soil. As I told you, that canal irrigation increasing the water table of ground water, which leads to waterlogging, and waterlogging brings salinity in the water, which can damage the land, so making it difficult to grow crops. When the soil is no longer good for cultivation, the land is abandoned. Abandoned means deserted, and such land is called derelict land. The loss of fertility of the soil can be restored by adding fertilizers. Like if the soil is not fertile or the soil becomes damaged, then we can add some fertilizers. These fertilizers can be in organic matter and can be in a form of chemicals. To reduce erosion, cover vegetation and shelter belts can be planted. So the wind or the water may even erode the soil, but wind will not be able to erode the soil with cover vegetation and sheltered belts. The Thal Desert Reclamation Project in Pakistan is a good example of using shelter belts to reclaim dry land from arid um, regions. Thar Desert is a completely arid region, and that is totally dry. Arid means dry region, which is a desert. The primary project objective of the project is to convert sand dunes covered Thal Desert into productive land. During mining, the ground is dug up together with the cover vegetation. The soil is washed away during rainstorms. Heaps of, or we can say the untidy collection of mining is left behind after the valuable minerals have been extracted. Sometimes chemicals are added during the mining process. These chemicals contaminate or pollute the soil, and the land is abandoned, deserted after the mines closed. Mining operations for years result in the release of heavy metals and acids that can destroy plants and organisms. Land that is damaged by mining will have to be repaired so that it can be used again. Where land is damaged due to mining, much work is needed for the land to be made useful again. The mining waste has to be cleared and the large holes filled in the contaminated or polluted soil has to be treated. Cover vegetation has to be introduced to fight soil erosion. The land once restored can be used for many purposes such as farming, pasture, recreation, industry, or even for housing. Another way to increase the supply of land is irrigation. We can even use the area which is dry and which is like the rainfall is very scanty and that is unable to be farmed. So we can even make the area fertile and make the area possible for cultivation through irrigation when we supply water to this area. So hot deserts, the hot deserts make up about 13% of the Earth's land. These areas do not receive much rainfall and the land is not very useful without water. So with irrigation and with the provision of water, they can support settlements and cultivation. So even the hot desert, the area which is a hot desert, we can make the area able for the settlements and even for the cultivation through the supply of water, through the provision of water, which is irrigation. However, with a growing population and more pressure on land for food production and other uses, irrigation seems a good way of increasing the land supply. Land that is not put under cultivation can be made productive. This is especially so for areas that border the hot deserts. Irrigation ensures a regular supply of water so that the crops are not dependable on rainfall. The Nile Delta and the Indus Basin are very good examples of how irrigation of semi-arid regions has helped in increasing the land supply by putting dry land to use. Indus Basin, like we can say, the Indus Plains of Pakistan are the semi-arid zone, and there is a scanty rainfall there, and even the monsoon rainfall is very unreliable. So uh, we can say, one of the world's largest irrigation system in the plains of Punjab. In countries in Africa, many irrigation projects have been undertaken in an attempt to increase food production. Mechanized irrigation has enabled farmers to grow crops where they had never dreamed it was possible before. Mechanized irrigation means when we are using technology to provide water to the areas. Like even when we are tapping out the groundwater through wells, before we were using Persian wheel, which was like a manual method. Now we are using wells, which is like automatic method that is using power or electricity to tap out the groundwater from deep under the ground. Okay, I think this is enough for today's lecture. Just chill because I am not going to give you any homework today. We will do all the question answers after finishing the chapter. So I think this is enough for today's lecture, and we'll meet up again in another video with another lecture with another topic. Till then, bye. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please stay at home, stay safe, stay healthy, stay blessed.